Hey guys, Mark here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use XP farming to get rich as F. So what actually is this concept of XP, aka experience farming? Let's say that your number one goal is just to make $10,000 in a single month through, let's say, branded dropshipping. And not only do you want to make $10,000 a month, but you want to do it as quickly as humanly possible. This is really the secret to XP farming, is to achieve your goals faster than anybody else. Now, most people in life, they will never hit a goal like this. And it's not because they're too stupid or they just don't want it bad enough. It's literally just because they don't move fast enough. So if you wanted to make $10,000 a month through branded dropshipping, let's say it's going to take you a total of 10 products to actually get there, right? Which means you test one, it fails, you move on, you test another, it fails, you move on. But once you get that 10th product, that'll actually be the one that gets you to $10,000 a month net in profit. What most people do is they take this amount of time that it'll take to test 10 products and they spread it over such a massively long time period. So if this was a span of, let's say, like 6 months, and this is today, most people would test roughly one product a week, or maybe even every 2 weeks, or if you're really, really good, 2 products a week, right? The difference between me and you is that I use this process called XP farming, where I basically take all of the time and the failures and lessons that it takes to hit that $10,000 a month, but I compress the time frame from like 6 months to 1 month, or even to like 1 week. Because when you do this, you are stacking skills and you are stacking failures so much faster than everybody else. Like, you're really just competing on failing faster than anybody else. But as a result, you acquire so much experience, so much faster than everybody else, then naturally you will be successful faster. So at that point, not only is succeeding virtually a guarantee, but you get to do it so much faster than anybody else. The number one issue that people have when it comes to this concept of XP farming is they sacrifice something. They sacrifice something called quality. They're like, okay, if I put in like 10 times the amount of reps in a fraction of the time, then I have to sacrifice on quality. Wrong. That is the difficult part of XP farming. You absolutely cannot sacrifice quality, which means you have to do a lot of fucking reps in a short period of time, and they have to be the best quality reps that you can possibly fucking imagine. It's like if you go into a gym and you ask the biggest guy, hey, do you lift like heavy weights with low reps, or do you do really lightweight with a lot of reps? The answer is fucking both. You have to do a lot of weight and you got to do a lot of fucking reps. That's how you get fucking big. And the same is true with XP farming. Not only do you put the same volume of work in a compressed time period, but you also do that while maintaining the highest quality that you possibly can. As a result, and this is literally like a disclaimer that I have to add to this freaking video, when you do this process of XP farming, it is going to be extremely painful. It is going to be painful emotionally, and it's probably going to be painful for your fucking bank account, because you're going to be failing faster, you're going to be losing money faster, most likely, and the emotional torment, the mind games that your brain is going to try to play on you during the time frame, that may just make you go fucking insane. But the way that I view this, and the reason that I love this strategy so much, is that, Buddha had it right. He said that life was suffering. If you stay in the same place that you're at right now, you're going to be suffering. Your life is not going to be good. But at the same time, if you want to grow to become the person that you want to become and achieve the goals you want to become, that is also going to be painful and feel like suffering. So you may as well choose the one that actually gets you the life that you want to have. It's like this old meme. This is, kind of a joke, but it's so freaking true. Like, you can either suffer now and actually get towards your goals, or you're going to pay the price of suffering for the rest of your freaking life because you never took a fucking chance and decided to go all in. I would rather suffer in the name of pursuing greatness than suffer in mediocrity. So this all sounds all nice and dandy and good, but how do you actually execute this XP farming? Let's get super tactical. Step number one to execute XP farming is to do something that is actually incredibly basic, but also incredibly powerful. And that is the process of time blocking. Time blocking is an exercise that a lot of millionaires use every single day, including myself, where you actually block out on your calendar a specific section of time where you are going to be executing what's called your deep work. Now, a few rules when you're blocking in your deep work. Number one is there has to be a very clear start and stop time. The reason why is due to a principle called Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law basically says that the amount of time that it takes for you to execute a particular task is going to expand to the amount of time that you have set aside to execute it. So if you're like, all right, I have to write this VSL, I have all day to do it, it's going to take all fucking day. But if you say, I have to write a VSL and I have to do it in 90 minutes, you're going to get it done in 90 minutes. And so you have to set very clear start and stop times for your deep work. I recommend anywhere in the realm of 2 to 4 hours every single day. The second part of this step here for time blocking, which is actually probably the most important part right here, is you have to be I can't emphasize this enough, you have to be fucking ruthless with this time. Deep work is not a time where you just you're being kind of focused. No, it is no distractions whatsoever. Nothing can get to you. If you even think about having your phone in the same fucking room as you while you're executing your deep work, you are nowhere near serious enough, because as XP farming works, you're doing a higher volume of work at the same level of quality that you were doing low volume work, which means you have to become incredibly efficient with your fucking time. If you're not being efficient, then XP farming is never going to work for you. So if you don't execute deep work in the right way, you don't actually block out the time and be so fucking strict with yourself. Like, you can fuck up on everything else throughout your day, but if you actually stick your timed block time for deep work and you're ridiculously focused, you have whatever focus music you want to put in, whatever gets you in that dialed state, your caffeine, your nicotine, whatever you got to use, man, just no compromises whatsoever. Be ruthless, be vicious with protecting that time every single day. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to work. So that is step number one, time blocking your time. If you want to know what to do in that deep work session, I'm going to get to that in just a second. Step number two is something that I like to call the reward loop. If you've ever read Atomic Habits or honestly any book on habits, they basically compress into this very simple 3-step process, right? The first step is going to be the cue, which is what triggers the habit. The second thing is going to be the habit itself, right? In this case, that is obviously going to be the deep work. And then the third step is the reward. And so you want to build out this mechanism yourself. And here's exactly how you do it. Number one, you need to have some kind of cue for getting into your deep work state. For me, it's typically having coffee and having a very specific type of music that is playing in my ears in a completely blacked out windowless room. I actually do have windows, but I literally put blackout tape, and I live in Miami. Like, in a lot of floors up, I black the entire thing out because that's how serious I am about protecting this time. I don't even want light to distract me. So that is my cue. The habit is the deep work itself, but the difficult part where most people struggle is going to be the reward, because what most people try to do, which is like the entire wrong way to go about this, is they create a reward that is completely external, right? So perfect example is I used to do this thing in college, which was kind of stupid looking back, but it worked for a short period of time. If I was trying to study and I had this textbook to get to and I had to read like 50 pages, let's say, in a particular night, I would literally take candy and put candy like every 3 to 5 pages. So that as soon as I made some progress, I'd get like the actual dopamine triggered in my brain from having like a really satiating food. The problem with that is that it's something called an external mechanism of reward. It's something outside of myself that is making me more motivated to continue to read the book, right? So what you should do in your deep work is, instead of using external motivation and external rewards, you obviously want to go internal. And so especially when it comes to making money and making money online, everybody centers their reward mechanisms around the money that they're making. I'm only going to be happy and feel good about my day if I made X amount of money. I'm telling you right now from experience, that is a terrible, terrible way to live your life, because then your actual self-worth, your mood, your emotions are predicated on something that is largely outside of your control. Like, yes, obviously making money is within your own control, but like on a day-by-day basis, hour-by-hour basis even, it's not. Like the inputs that were leading up to that particular day that is really controlling that. And so your internal reward needs to be something that you actually have within your control. For example, let's go back to the e-commerce example. If you're going to be testing a new product every single day, that is something that's completely within your control, right? You find the product, you do your research, you build a store around it, you create your ads, and you launch them on paid traffic. You can do all of those within a day. If you check off all those boxes, what you want to do is start to center your self-talk around accomplishing that thing and associating that with a particular reward. And when you control your self-talk in this way, and like, let's say you actually do all that work, you're just like, fuck yeah, I just fucking did all this hard work in such a short period of time. And honestly, it wasn't fucking easy, but I still fucking did it because that's who the fuck I am. Literally, like, it sounds kind of corny, but just playing that fucking dialogue in the back of your brain, anytime you finish something difficult, it's gonna create this loop inside of your brain that doesn't rely on anything external. It's 100% internal. If you can control your self-talk, then you will not worry about being motivated long-term. It's the most sustainable way for you to be motivated. Like, you can be motivated externally, get your caffeine, get your nicotine, do your whole fucking morning routine, rub a fucking banana on your face, all the shit. But that's all external. The internal stuff is what really is going to last you for your entire life. And if you're able to control your self-talk, you're always going to want to continue to go back to that deep work. And it's going to create like this addiction in your brain where you start to like really look forward to it. And that's exactly what you want. One of my favorite neuroscientists, his name is Dr. Daniel Amen. He had this concept of what he called ANT, right? A-N-T. It stands for automatic negative thought. Because what most people do when they go through something hard, like a difficult workout, or they take a cold shower, is they finish, like they get out of the ice tub, let's say after like an ice bath, and they're like, fuck, fuck, that was so freaking hard. And like, that's their internal dialogue. That is a negative thought. That is an automatic negative thought. What you should do instead is say, damn, that was hard as fuck, but I still fucking did it because that's who I fucking am. Create it, center it around your identity, and turn it into something positive, because it's just going to feed and build on itself long term. That's ultimately, guys, like how you build a fucking unbreakable mindset. It's all your self-talk, your internal dialogue. All right, so zooming out here, right? Step 1, time blocking. Step 2, the reward loop. And then step number 3 is going to be obviously what you do in the deep work session itself. Like, what are you actually spending your time on, right? It's the action that you're actually taking during this deep work session. And luckily for you, this is probably the easiest part, because it's actually more important for you to determine what you're going to be working on than it is actually doing the work itself. Because if you start working on the wrong thing, then you're not going to make any fucking progress. All you need to do is answer these 3 very simple questions. Question number 1 is, what is my goal? Question number 2, what is the number 1 constraint that is keeping me from reaching my goal? And then question number 3, what is the one system that I can build that will solve that constraint forever? So let's go back to our e-commerce example. My goal is to make $10,000 a month with branded dropshipping. What is the number 1 constraint keeping me from reaching my goal? Well, I don't know how to acquire customers on paid traffic without losing money in the process, right? That's the constraint, is my cost per acquisition is too high. So what is the one system that I can build that will solve that constraint forever? Well, let's just say in this case, it was to build highly profitable ads using AI, because AI is infinitely scalable. You can make as many ads as you want, and it doesn't increase the amount of time that you have to put on it. Hence the reason that I said, what is the one system? Not like the one task, the one system, because that'll solve that problem in perpetuity. And so this is the simple 3-step process of actually executing the XP farming concept. And the cool part is essentially every time that you quote unquote fail, you're actually acquiring XP. You're just like acquiring experience. Don't see it as failure, because people have a really negative connotation with failure, but you should see it as just acquiring experience. You're basically just getting XP in the same way that you would in a video game. And speaking from experience, if you really want to take this to the next level and make sure you're getting the most and you're not just like failing for no reason, do yourself a favor and buy a fucking journal. Every time that you put in one of the reps, so like testing a product or making a sales call or whatever it is for you, you should be journaling about it. Journal about what you did wrong. Because if you're not learning from every single failure, then the whole XP farming thing is fucking worthless, right? The point is you're acquiring all this experience, all this failure in a short period of time because you are able to learn faster. That's it. It's just speeding up the process of learning to an incredibly short amount of time so that you progress faster than anybody else. Now, the last thing that I want to say is when it comes to XP farming, obviously you're not going to be doing deep work all day. Nobody can be doing deep work all day, because if you think that you can, then you're not actually going that deep in your deep work. And that's very telling. So the question is like, what do you do outside those hours where you're not doing your deep work? Well, that's why I want to show you this. This is the Eisenhower decision matrix. Don't worry about the name. All you need to know is that when you're doing your deep work, you're essentially doing what is most important and urgent, right? So that's like the first thing that you always do. Now, throughout your day, you have other shit that you got to get done. It's just not always super important. It's not always the most high leverage thing you have to do, but you still have to do it, right? So that would be something like that is important, but not urgent, or not important, but urgent. You still have to do those things, but you don't let it interfere with your deep work time. That is like the number one rule when it comes to XP farming. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.